Good morning, everybody. All right, so kind of quiet this morning after yesterday's drubbing. That was a gap down, and we were anticipating this little bearish event. It's occurred. Where do we go from here? So yesterday was, after the gap down, it went a bit further and just whipped back and forth. Some pretty impressive whips back and forth at different times, and so we see a bar on the spiders here with, you can see, right? Scan on that. Look at the open and close. You can barely tell that there's an open and close. It's so tight together. So the battle was, I guess, impressive on both sides. There's certain different ways. Buyers couldn't take it up to the bottom of the prior bar, let alone the gap fill. So that was bearish. They momentarily got it above the 200 MA, the red line. And on the downside, it went right where we thought it would. We were actually there waiting for it to get there to initiate a put spread on SPX in the area of the 20 MA. As things came down there, and that worked out well. So, where we are today, things are coming off of their highs, which were at around 448. Spikes up there. Let's eliminate the spikes. Let's just say 448. As prices came up toward yesterday's resistance area, you can see the tails there on the hourly chart right over here, 448, where sellers showed up. So overnight price action, sellers came in where they should and couldn't take it higher. I give them points for that. And now it's rolling back over. So still bearish price action. They weren't able to get it any higher, and well, still an inside day so far, coming down toward 445. See right there. Just looking at the cursor lines, you can see up where it was, down here. So marking time. It's Thursday. We got 2 days of trading, and the weekly chart is rolling over. Right. We'll see what happens. It's under the prior week's bar's low. Right. We always look at whatever the time frame is as the prior bar's low is our first reference point of price support. And then, of course, pivots. We talked about voids. As we look at lower time frames, we could see a little bit more data here. So downside target, consider if it breaks yesterday's low down here at 440, where there's some big open interest, bearish bets, and we see a cluster of price support around there, that pivot low. So that would be an initial downside area today to move down to. And if it, again, breaks yesterday's low, starts coming down, and 440, 50 MA is there. Moving averages are subjective, but they're widely watched, especially on indices, especially on the S&P 500. Institutions are there watching what's going to happen. And so that would be a downside place where we would expect prices to stabilize. We then look at our intraday tools. What's our NYSE tick doing at that time? Do we get a tick extreme? How did it get down there? All the things that we watch on our dashboard, so to speak, intraday, volatility index, and so on. And we see if it, this 5 minute, then is it extended, does it begin to make a turn, and so on. So we've got the rollover, we've got a buy setup that failed. That was one of our scenarios. It's moving down. See what happens. It gets to this area, which will be where buyers had better show up and try and make the turn here, because down below, there's not going to be much of anything to stop it from going down. So we call a void. There's nothing down here. No moving averages. The moving averages are becoming more bearish, meaning prices are below. They were below. They got above the 200 and the 50, and now one of the things that we'll be talking about, probably into next week or so is, as this thing, whatever's happening here, the moving averages, do they begin to tighten up? Now, should this collapse lower, of course, they're just going to follow along. That's all they can do. But if this starts chopping around over here, these moving averages are going to start to come together as they average in the current prices and dropping off old prices. Back here, 200 way back there, and so on, was the 20 will be dropping off some of these, and this will begin to tighten up here, and we'll be like, okay, which way is it going to go? 3 Fed governors speak today. Okay, well, we already know what earlier in the week we heard the 2 ladies that they call doves, which means they're the pushovers and ready to let things go wherever, not tightening up, and now they're hawkish. And so look, we know what they're going to do. They have no choice. Their backs are against the wall. So I mean, I think they have to raise 50 basis points. So I think anything other than that, I mean, if it's a quarter, maybe the markets initially go up and collapse thinking it wasn't enough. If they do 3/4, the market collapses. If they do half, it whips back and forth. And then, it's like, okay, this is what we have to deal with until the next time. And, so I don't anticipate there's any surprises coming. But there's that hesitancy, of course. They're talking, who knows what might come out of their mouth. And so we'll see how it plays out. Well, I think they should be worried about something, McGraw, right? They should have been worried about this stuff, 2 months ago when, I guess they got to do their own thing. Supposedly they're independent and all that, but, things are political, and, these are intelligent people. And probably if they didn't have, whether it was whoever was in the White House, Democrat, Republican, twisting their arms, they probably maybe get it right. So looking to the left, prices back down to support. Looks at the futures. There's some stabilization inside day. Same story going on here. Coming up to resistance, moving back down again, rolling over. Qs. There's the gap down and stopping down here near the moving averages. Look to the left. Right. In fact, this we call factory work. Those that are here every day, especially on YouTube. You hear me reporting to you the same things. And as far as the analysis, of course, prices change. So then, we have to interpret what's going on. And then, like over here, we didn't know what was going to happen. Strong move up. We figured it was going to stall, but how would this play out? Right. So was it an M top? Would it be a buy setup failure? Could it possibly keep going higher? But we looked at intermarket analysis, and all those things that didn't support that. But now here we've got a break. And so on some support, it was a sizable gap down, which, then traders start thinking, institutions, that's a little too much, too fast. And it dipped down and stabilized. So now one of the concepts, right, we have concepts. Concepts are what we use to guide our thoughts rather than our thoughts being random about what we'd like to happen, right? In that when prices come down like this and they reach a support area, what did they do? Well, initially, as we looked at what was going on over here overnight and how things backed off, we see that they're still going sideways and the bounce failed. So that guides our thoughts right now to, oh, that's bearish price action. And because the markets were going up over here or last year, whatever, and prices reached resistance and they went sideways at resistance, we said, oh, that's bullish price action. Prices should go higher. Well, it's the same thing in reverse. Prices come down to support and they go sideways. That's bearish price action supporting, but they should go lower. And we continue with our concepts and thought process until something changes. Kind of right now, we're kind of caught for the moment, so to speak, to see what the next bar forms. And YM, kind of the same, different, but the same. It's on support, hanging out here. Inside day looks a little different. Bearish reversal on the hourly. Russell looks like it's going down to the bottom of the base and maybe a lot lower. Why? Because now, well, this isn't so much really a flag in that it stalled and went down, but just looking at this as a move with a stall in between, that was a sharp move and stopped at what we call minor resistance. Right? And so now it's kind of this higher low, higher high, getting that kind of flagging pattern within that move down, which suggests, even lower. That's what flags do. While it's got that support here, bearish flag patterns suggest that prices should go lower. So they have to break those lows, of course, but the assumption is within a downtrend that that's what's going to happen. And I will see how that plays out. Bitcoin got a little clobbering yesterday. There has been this correlation between Bitcoin and the broader markets, which one is pulling which. Well, you remember way back here, as this began to top out, and you go and look at, I think it was November 8th, go back and look at November 8th and go look at the broader markets. And you'll see the influence there. So yesterday got a little ugly. This was improving. This got ugly. That got ugly. We're getting a red bar here on the weekly time frame. Near resistance. Oil. Come on, oil. This is its chance to turn around. And kind of played out after the big move down, and as we thought it might. So now that it's here, it really has, the way it went up and created the void and came down in such a nasty angle. Right? The idea was it ain't going back up there, not without some backing and filling and digesting of what happened. But now, having done that, it's in an area where buyers should step up more aggressively. And that doesn't mean it can't break this low. It just means if it does, it should turn up, right? With what we call a potent bar. What's that? Something like this 3-bar pattern, or just goes, it was down on the day, and we're looking for a range expansion situation, whether it's multiple bars range expansion or just a down day that goes down and reverses back up again. So range expansions display emotion, a lot of changing of hands of whatever the vehicle is, and putting that in the context of what's to the left in the trend. So the trend here, you can see, if we look from the moving average point of view, it's starting to roll over. This is up, this is up. So it's gotten kind of whippy, but we need to see this, make a turn. So waiting. Silver still can't make the turn, pretty sloppy. Gold looks better, but kind of just sitting there. Maybe the market's just, hey, we need to see that 50 basis points or whatever you're going to do. And once that's out of the way, it's just earnings, and markets will take its cue and move on. Blue horseshoe internals. Kind of, back here, I thought maybe they could get up and tag the upper bands, and they couldn't. So, we talked about the sharp move up, that initiated this, and that supported higher prices, and we got the higher prices, and now we're getting the correction. So internals are nowhere. However, we look at different things, right? Our method, and we talk about price action and market internals and intermarket analysis. So while this is part of market internals, some of you, I'm sure, remember a year or so ago and before that, it was just constantly, internals moving. These bands were up here and constant call buying within the uptrend and so on and so forth. Now, and take a look at this, what's happening. These bands were like this, right? With prices were, like that and not coming down so far. And so what we see now is these bands are now starting to push lower. And that historically, well, it's historical, but what these bands are doing is that they are adjusting for the market environment, which is becoming more bearish. So while this was bullish, the direction that these bands are taking, just like a moving average, because that's all they really are, but they're just percentage envelopes around a moving average of this moving average. And so they slowly begin to adjust those sentiment levels, which are becoming more bearish. So now, it couldn't get up there. I'm not going to adjust the settings here because historically they work quite well. I'm just recognizing, oh, that couldn't even get all the way up there. So these institutions are getting more bearish, even though there was this strength and we saw them buying, the techs over here. And I thought to myself, what the hell are they doing? But, they do whatever they do. And, now they're selling them. So this will continue to move lower. So we'll see, as this does whatever it does, this will come down here, I guess, in the next week or so, and we'll get a buy set up, and we'll then look to play a bounce. All right. And so lastly, what do we got here? Transport's just decimated, crushed. And that was like, when this started coming down, I mentioned rails, truckers, FedEx. It's like, what? They're going after, you can't argue with the market, or what the big money's doing, but they're coming after this like that with all these nasty things going on. It's like, all right, maybe they know something I don't, but, anyway, things look bearish right now. Maybe they hold up, waiting for this Fed to say whatever they're going to say. And we'll see how it plays out today. Well, to you, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, we haven't had many earnings here, a couple today, so I think earnings season will start kicking up the next 2 weeks, which we love, because then we get not only more gap ideas, but then we get more credit spread ideas on the higher volatility. So yeah, I read in the paper today, the headline was, oh, the Fed minutes says the Fed might be prepared to raise 50 basis points. And remember, I've been saying, it's like, who doesn't know that already? So the fact that this initial up-down move was $5, that surprised me that it was that big. And then it surprised me again that it made a new high. So we're in a tight little messy trading range here. We still got, we're actually flat, Greg, in the weekly options trader. Got a couple open shorts that are all performing well. So yeah, not much going on in the open department. Let's see what's over here on my list. Ford got a downgrade. I think having supply problems or whatever. Now, every time we do an MT live, we can talk about that particular concept. And this, and so yesterday was trading wide range bars and what is the message of in connection with the overall pattern. So this was a very bullish gap closing breakout wide range bar. And now it's failed. It's no follow through to that green bar. The very next day, bar by bar, gap down, closing below 50%. Told you, danger. That shouldn't have happened. So it might set up as a day trade short, but it's down way too many consecutive red bars for a swing. CDK 54 and change. Now, and here we go again. Look at this wide range igniting, and we had a 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a fantastic entry right over here. Here's a 180 breakdown failure, but now I'm talking about a gap. Hypothetically, if we were just gapping up to $50 there, this would be a tier 1 gap setup. We got a strong uptrend, we got a gap negated, and now we're gapping over 8 bars. But the problem now is it's gapping up too much. It's gapping up here to $54. That would be my target. So nothing I can do with it. But I like pointing out kind of what, oh, it is. All right, thanks. So I'm just pointing out what I would love for tier 1 setup. CXN, this one's better. Why is this better? Because I got a price void here to 1450 and it's gapping to the top of the range. So this I like a lot. Like I said, it's gapping to the top of the range. So we're gonna, it's not one that I'm rushing into like a 2-minute high. I want to see how it handles the resistance. Greg, it seems like every other day I'm like making fun of idiots, Remember Twitter up 25%, Warren Buffett's at it here again. They said he took a stake. But the thing that just blows my mind is it's past tense. It's already happened. And they just see it in his disclosure to the SEC that he's been taking a big stake in this. So the fundamentals have not changed one iota overnight. And these idiots are driving it up to $39. So, it's a bullish gap, nothing to do, but I just, in my nature, my bias is to fade those idiot moves with a setup, of course. So 30-minute low could be a call spread candidate for tomorrow because it's the calls are going to be jacked, and tomorrow would be 1 DTE. All right, Sophie here, gapping down. Look at the moving averages, nice railroad track. Bearish pre-market action. Here we go again. Wide range green bar ignored. No follow through to it. So if the market, if all of this pre-market right here was during market hours, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so this would be about 10:30 reversal, then I would short that right now for a day trade. That's a beautiful, beautiful breakdown. Green bar ignored, bigger time frame bearish. So keep an eye on that. I mean, it's still a good idea. Just put it in a 5-minute window and watch it. In fact, I won't do that. Sophie. ULCC for Loic. Sure. I'd say wait at least 5 minutes and then short yesterday's low. You got a sell set up. You got a green bar ignored breakdown on volume. Sure, I like it. ULCC, I'll add it on the list. RGP 1750. All right, here's another bullish gapper. 30-minute high, maybe. You still got a lot of resistance over here. Let's see what it does in 30 minutes. I saw a couple EV stocks showing strength this morning. Blink, nothing. Actually, it's, well, if they were bullish earlier, they're not now, so forget about it. Genus, I think had earnings of 2 cents, no interest. Wayfair got a downgrade. There you go. There's a short. These retailers have been weak. It's a break. Look at it. Look at that. It's a continuation, breakdown, kind of a descending triangle on the weekly, gapping under yesterday's low. That's a 30-minute low trade. I like it. I'll get rid of knock. Levi, up 14 cents, no pattern. Costco, we've been talking about this relative strength in the green room for weeks. Little bull flag here, closing breakout. I think it had some same store sales information come out, gapping up, all-time highs. That thing is a beast. Oh, hey, I remember telling Brian, I'm not Brian, David Wycamp was doing a put spread on this into the close, and I said I liked it a lot. And maybe, if you're listening, David, maybe that's why there was good juice, because they knew there was pending news on those sales. Lima whiskey, 63 bucks. It's a bullish gap, bullish bounce, but just no interest there. Not a tier 1. STZ earnings. Put spread maybe 30-minute high. We'll come back to you. Ango, no pattern. CAG had earnings, no pattern. APOG, no pattern. ADL. It's had a big move, but look at the weekly. Kind of a new low, W bottom. Target 10 bucks. So that one's, it's obviously it's almost doubled here, but that fits into the category of, hey, let's watch it for a week, see what happens. SST that looks like a Reddit boy toy. Well, no, that tail's not real. Look, see that? Look at my 15-minute chart. This was yesterday, so that $36 is not real. Acting well though, could be a day trade. This gap's too big. Good. Greg mentioned yesterday. That could be a 5-minute high. Bullish Papa Bear. what is bullish? That's a funny name. You know why, Greg? It's because it's conflicting. Is he bullish or bearish? He says, I like that name. You're a Papa Bear, but you're a bullish Papa Bear. That's what he said. I like that. All right, Delta 20. Talking about Ollie North. It's you got 2 inside bars from a gap breakout with a price void on the weekly. So it is a watch. I would like it better over yesterday's high though, because yesterday's low was 80% into this bar. And that's a lot of resistance on the 15-minute chart. So over yesterday's high, I like it. I'll put it on the list. But if you're talking about selling a put spread, give me the strikes and the juice and the DTE. That's our process. I'm going to do it right now myself. I mean, if we could get down there at the 20 MA would be an absolute no brainer. There's no weeklies, but on a pattern like that, see the 42 level. I'm going to see if there's anything there, the 42s. And it's too spready. So see, that's my veto. The 4250 is 55 by 180. So that's a veto. LNTH alarm. Look at that. This was one of our longs. And it held relative strength through all that market pullback. That's a great example of relative strength also. Just like Pasco. So my 59 alarm went up and it's already 50 cents higher. Wow, nice. So now we move stop to yesterday's low. Yesterday's low, 56. And then if it keeps going, then I'll probably move stop to today's low. But as of right now,